What up, people? Welcome to the Push Wild Black Show. I'm your host, Christian, and I'm doing this intro first because I don't know how this recap is going to go. It might be, depending on how long it is, it might be just me talking. It might be a guest-filled pod with Mignon Garrett. I don't know yet. But I just wanted to get these thoughts out before I forget them and while it's fresh on my mind about the game. And then if I get a phone call and people want to talk about the game, I will add them to this. So this might be a single joint with me, or this might be a one with guests. It really depends on what I do, because I'm going to put this out either later on this afternoon or tonight. So anyway, that was an interesting game, wasn't it? Toronto Raptors beat the Golden State Warriors 118-109. And I had the Warriors in 6. I still have the Warriors in 6. But this might go 7 games, man. I did not expect Toronto to it was a heck of a game. There were runs. It seemed like Golden State was. It seemed real kind of. I don't want to say sloppy, but the shooting wasn't really. Golden State really couldn't get off. Steph could to a point, just because he's an amazing shooter. So it looked like, if you just look at the box score, with him having 31 points, or 34 points rather, it looked like on paper he had a good game, but he was bothered the entire game. The trap that they had with Kyle Lowry and Marc Gasol helping right before you get to the wing, that was frustrating. And the trap that when Van Vliet, when he came in and helped on the trap as well, it was actually better than Kyle Lowry's defense. The Toronto Raptors, basically, it was a defensive show as far as how to make sure that the Warriors couldn't get to the 3-point line. There was no help defensively to split those traps to get Steph open more. That's going to be adjusted, and he still had 34 points. Klay Thompson had 21. It seemed like he needed to go to get off, though. Draymond Green had a triple-double still. And on paper, you should be able to win that game. But the story of the game was Toronto's defense to stop Golden State's runs, because they did have runs to where you would look like, it's beginning, and then they couldn't finish the run. Then Toronto had got a shot off. Pascal Siakam, I'm killing this dude's name. He had a crazy game. He went off for 32 points. Kyle Lowry, he only had 7. I'm looking at the box score right now. No, Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard had 23. Pascal had 32, and Danny Green had a big shot in the second half, and Van Vliet had 15 points. It was balanced between 6 or 7 people. And Golden State had a good game as well, but like I said, like the runs that they normally got on, they were stopped. And Toronto was able to get a shot to kind of give them cushion. So yeah, man, that trap was crazy. And if Toronto plays like that, like what? We're not even talking about Kawhi Leonard having to go for 37, because that's what I figured like we would have to do. They would have to do in order to beat Golden State, and he only went for 23, which is still good, but he had help. It's not like a one-man show. So if they shoot, which I forgot how good Toronto it can be shooting, and it seemed like throughout the playoffs when you look at the Raptors, there were games where it was like Kawhi Leonard basically took them into the game and led them to victory, and no one else wanted to shoot the ball. No one else wanted to shoot the ball. No one else wanted to take the shot. It seemed like everybody was kind of scared that they was going to mess up. In this situation, they realized that it's the finals, so there is no going home, and it seemed like everybody was big in the moment, and everybody was comfortable there. Now, this may change in Game 2. This may change when they go back to Oakland, but I'm very impressed with what Toronto did last night. It was real cool. I didn't know how good the shooting was. I didn't know how good I knew how good the shooting was. I don't think I was paying attention. I thought it was basically just Kawhi Leonard, going off every game. And you forget that they do have shooters, they do have scorers, not to Kawhi Leonard's level. Pascal was had a lot of glimpses, so he was really good. He was really good throughout the season, and he was really good last night. And so if Kawhi Leonard and Pascal, I'm just gonna go ask him. I'm just gonna address him by his first name. If Pascal and Kawhi, if they lead the Raptors, or if they scored like they did last night, Golden State has a shot. Here's the thing with Golden State. Steph Curry still got his, but he was bothered. So it wasn't like it wasn't easy. His shots weren't easy. His shots were effort. He had to get a lot of effort. Klay Thompson on paper had a decent game, but it seemed like it wasn't one of those crazy Klay games. And like I mentioned earlier, Draymond had a triple-double. Let me see. Let me just check to be sure. 10 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, triple-double. Exactly. 10, exactly. So they need help. And this is what illustrates the KD problem. Like, in the regular season, the offense still looks clunky. I talked about this with Mignon Garrett, who might be on this later. They look real clunky sometimes with Kevin, and they go into ISO ball real quick, with him. So when everybody's like scoring, the thing with the Houston series, everybody was scoring, and Mike D'Antoni, which I can get in Mike D'Antoni's situation, but that'll be later. But Mike D'Antoni doesn't play defense. So when you're not really playing defense and you have a team built to try to match what the Warriors are doing, which is what Houston is trying to do, if it doesn't work for you, and this is the same as Milwaukee, because Milwaukee would have had the same problem, because they kind of built the team to match the Warriors as well. Not necessarily in ball movement, but in roster structure. Like, okay, we're going to shoot threes. We're going to shoot threes just like they shoot threes. That's not how you beat the Warriors. You beat the Warriors by, like, pressuring... excuse me. You beat the Warriors by pressuring Steph and Klay and making it hard for them. Defense. And you hope that they don't really go off. So Toronto beat them defensively. But with KD, what happens is KD's 7 feet and he's a 2 guard and he has basically Steph's range. So when they need a basket, it's real easy to go iso ball with KD and let KD get you 30 points and pull a deficit away. So in Houston, where defense was an afterthought, old school Warriors came about, and you light up Houston and you sweep Houston and you have a rest. This isn't going to be one of them games where, they're not going to defend you well and you're going to get open shots. So this is where KD, to me, is more pertinent to the series, because you really don't have that half-court scorer to where, okay, I'm going to be at the top of the key and I'm going to dribble the ball and I'm going to drive to the lane and I'm going to shoot over people. You don't have that guy yet. So you got to hope that Clay does that or somebody else does that, maybe like or Draymond Green takes that role, and he's so much of a facilitator now. Like that bowling ball going to the lane and jumping on everybody is cool, but he's taught to be a facilitator too. So if somebody's open, somebody's open. And I'm not saying KD doesn't do that, but from what I've noticed with him, it's like he's set to score. So on half-court sets, it looks better than it is. It looks better than it is with KD because KD can take over games. They don't have this with Toronto. Whereas yesterday when Toronto closed the gap where Toronto was by 5 or by 3 and you needed that, I'm going to get an extra couple of points here, in a half-court set, you really didn't have that option with KD. I still think that Golden State's going to win this series even if KD doesn't play or if KD's limited, because KD's going to be out for game 2 and they're going to see how he practices. It's more than likely he's going to be out. His debut isn't going to be till game 3. He might be limited in game 3. We don't really know how he's going to be used. And the same with Boogie Cousins. Boogie Cousins is played and he's eligible to play, but we don't know. He only had 3 points. We don't really know how that's going to be used. Also, rebounding wise, Toronto was getting rebounds, so you got to get you got to be able to rebound with them as well. So I don't know, man. Like, it was a good game to me. It seems like Toronto is not scared at the moment, and it seems like Golden State needs to figure out how to their half-court sets better. I've always said that, though. Their half-court sets or their half-court offenses always looked kind of clunky, and then when KD came, it was like, okay, we're just going to give the ball to him now. So now, and I haven't really turned on the TV, and I haven't really turned on the TV to listen to the overreaction of today yet, but yeah, the overreaction is coming because I think that everybody's just so surprised at how good Toronto played. But yeah, KD is important. The idea that KD wasn't going to be important was overstated, and the idea that they're better than the Golden State Warriors are better without KD, that's overstated. Because it's not like they're better or worse, it's just they're different. And this is an example of why they're different. With KD, you had a better offensive, you have better offensive sets in the half court. Without KD, the ball moves different. The ball moves more easier. So if it's a free flowing offense and you're going up against a team that doesn't value defense, like Houston, then of course it's going to look better. Toronto values Toronto values defense, and they figured out how to slow Steph down. And I think that trap with the point guard, whether it's Lowry or Van Vliet, and Gasol was brilliant, and they got to figure out how to counter that. So anyway, this is the thoughts on the game. I might add, if I can get an interview today, I might add conversation with Mignon about the game, or whoever else decides to talk about the game. Anyway, I will see you guys later. What up, people? Welcome to the Push the Ball Black Show. I'm your host, Christian. This is going to be a little different because I just posted an NBA show yesterday, actually last night. And I was supposed to have this person on, but just in case he didn't come through, I wanted to put something out because it's the finals, and I didn't want to miss a reaction. So I did a solo show yesterday morning, and I was going to add him to the show, but didn't work out. And now I got him, and he was gracious enough to be on the show today.
Hey guys.
The voice you hear is longtime recruiter, longtime contributor, Mignon Garrett from the Rant Sport and Fitness. What's up, Mignon?
Hey, what's up, Chris? What's going on this morning?
It's about to rain here, man. I got maybe about a couple hours before it storms, and then it's gonna be crappy for the weekend.
Well, it's bright and sunny here in Dallas, Texas. I tell you that. About 9:12 a.m.
See. But yeah, man. So Toronto shocks the world and beats the Warriors 118 to 109. Bro, what's your thoughts, man? Because I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was definitely a unique game. I feel like basically the reason the game went the way it did is that the Warriors they've had time to kind of get lax and get comfortable in what they were in as far as being at home, chilling, waiting for this series to start.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that the Raptors had their blood already warmed up since they just had like a little short break in between. But I feel like that's just what it was, man. I feel like the Warriors, they just needed to wake up and find out where they were at. And I think this next game, they'll be ready to go for the most part. As far as just when you look at the game itself, as far as I guess I can start off with Kawhi Leonard, for what he did in the game, it was effective. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, it really wasn't effective when you think about the Golden State Warriors that we know can play.
Mm-hmm.
You could see that he could be stopped. You could see that defensively. You could see that.
The thing I noticed was Kawhi had a very, to me, quiet. I think he had 23 points.
Right.
My man had a quiet 23 points.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was 43 minutes, 23 points, 5 of 14 from the field, 3 from 8 for 3 for 6 from 3-point land. He was quiet. Actually the majority of the game, everyone was kind of quiet offensively until Siakam kind of had a couple runs and ended with 32 points. That was the reason, and he was real effective. 14 to 17, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Real effective, real efficient. Defensively though, I was surprised at Toronto. I'm gonna be completely honest. I still have the Golden State Warriors in 6 games because I agree like you. I think I think they were rusty because they sweep Portland, and they made Portland look really bad in the conference finals, and they sweeped them. And Toronto had to go against a tough Milwaukee team, but they were young and they're one player away.
Right.
But Golden State looked rusty. That trap that it was either Lowry or Van Vliet and Gasol coming up on Curry, and Curry still had 34 points, but he looked uncomfortable.
Right.
And Curry, that just tells you how good of a scorer, not just a shooter, but how good of a scorer Curry is, because even on a frustrating day, he still had 34. And Klay Thompson had 21, but, Klay has quiet games to where you're like, they need more help, or Klay needed to do, like, the post game was like, they need more help, Klay needed to do more, and it's like, he had 21, you know what I'm saying? The narrative of, and we've talked about this off air, but the narrative that Golden State needs KD to win the championship, I can see why people are saying that, because their offense is different now.
Right.
And see, it's different, but in the finals, KD is important. Like, I've always said that KD is not for the regular season. During the and he gets his numbers because he's one of the best scorers I've ever seen, and he can do everything, and he's 7 feet. So there are things that he can do as a 7-footer that we haven't seen, and he's gonna get his. But during the regular season and during some moments in the playoffs, they do this ISO ball thing, and it looks real clunky because a lot of times, and I honestly think they need to do this more throughout the season. I always think they needed to do more of this throughout the season. Give Kevin Durant the ball and let Kevin Durant be Kevin Durant. And I kind of feel like during the regular season and sometimes during early rounds of the playoffs, because it's lesser competition, that they don't give the ball to Kevin Durant enough and let him just dominate in half-court sets. I feel like they tried too hard during the regular season to, like, do OG Warriors basketball, and then they only kind of let Kevin Durant be Kevin Durant in the finals, which is cool because, as we're seeing, Steph's 6'3", and if you bother him, you can slow him down, which is what happened in Game 1. And I feel like in Game 1, a healthy Kevin Durant makes that game a lot closer than it was. Because, like, don't get it twisted. It wasn't that Golden State couldn't get one of those classic runs, because there were a couple times where the runs started. It's just they weren't able to finish the run. Whereas with Toronto, you knew Kawhi Leonard was gonna get his, and as we stated, he had a real quiet game. You knew Siakam had potential to get big numbers, but nobody thought 32 points was a thing. Marc Gasol was another. Marc Gasol had a big game for him. That was 20 points. Marc Gasol had a couple threes. He was brilliant defensively. Kyle Lowry didn't have a good game offensively, but he guarded Steph. You know what I'm saying? It was a more balanced. It was a more balanced, effort from the Raptors plus the defense. So, whereas with Golden State, it was Klay and Steph, mostly Steph, and then they don't have a third guy. Like Draymond Green, he had a triple-double, and it was almost like, okay, because it didn't really put an impact. Like them Portland triple-doubles, that was an impact on the game. It was almost like Draymond his impact wasn't there. Even though statistically he had a triple-double. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I feel like they need a third guy. I don't know who that third guy is. And what bothered me about the offense of Golden State was, the trap is coming. It got to the point that what's happening. You know what they were doing. They were pushing Steph off the 3-point line, which was good because he couldn't do those crazy Steph moments. You notice the trap is coming. Why are you not helping the trap? Why are you not helping him? Because Houston was doing the same thing. Houston was trying to do the same thing, and it was like they were helping on the trap, and nobody was helping on the trap in this game. Maybe it was because of Marc Gasol being the help defender versus whoever was doing it in Houston. But it just seemed like to me Golden State was not trying to help on those traps. They weren't trying to split those traps up for Steph to get more room. What did you see?
I saw some different things that really just kind of opened my eyes a little bit. As far as ball movement, it just seemed like everything. You know how Golden State, when they get on those runs, the ball just starts going all over the place. Well, I saw that a lot, but I saw it just messing up, man. I mean, I don't know if you saw that pass. I think it was in the first quarter by Draymond Green. I think it was like one of those behind the back passes. Mm-hmm. And, the guy, the specific guy he actually passed it to, he missed the ball balling out of bounds. Draymond Green signals to him, hey, man, you gotta look, you gotta watch. Mm-hmm. Well, I saw that all game, man. I mean, it just seemed like they never really got a handle on it. They never really got a handle on the game itself. And from a coaching standpoint, Steve Kerr, I think he, out of all the timeouts they took, he pretty much knew they were out of sync from the beginning. Right. And I feel like he knew this game was not going to be a good one. Right. I knew he did. I could tell from his face at the end of the second quarter. He was like, I could tell that he just did not feel like they were ready at all. Because it seemed like they were very, I don't want to say comfortable, but it seemed like they were very just slowful about doing things. They were rusty. I'm not gonna say they weren't engaged, but they weren't crisp. Like Golden State, when they're crisp, you're not beating them. But it just seemed like they weren't. Like you said, the passes were errant. Durano was able to split the passing lanes a lot. It just seemed like they were bothered a lot. And yeah, I mean, they were just letting guys go to the lane and just watching them do whatever they needed to do. And I was like, you guys can't win like that. But one thing that shocked me was Boogie Cousins. That shocked me the most out of that whole situation. They need to figure out what to do with him, because either you're gonna stuck, because I get that you need a body, but dude's not. He's not in shape. He's out of shape. It's not even that. Like, they didn't really know what to do with him during the regular season, and you trying to figure out how to place him. It's the finals, and you trying to figure out how to place him in the finals, and it's like, okay, so are you gonna start him? What are we doing? Like yeah. I'm listening. I'm watching The Jump yesterday, and Jeff Van Gundy's like, that's the hardest thing to do. Like, he's coming off an injury, and you're trying to put him
He's coming off injury, and you're trying to like give him minutes and give him sets in the finals.
Well, see the thing is too, man. The reason I say he's out of shape is because when he was playing, he made a difference. You could tell he made a difference on the court.
Yeah.
It's since he's been out. What we're looking at is he's trying to get the dust knocked off of himself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he hasn't been playing for a minute. So he's gonna have to like really, really, if he really wants to be effective in this game, it's gonna take all of his being to do so. And if they're gonna fit him in there, what they need to do is, if they're gonna get his feet wet early, man. Don't wait till the end of the game
or the
to
second,
say, okay, well, let's put Boogie in.
Or the third quarter. Like,
yeah,
I think they put him in the second quarter. I would start him. I don't know what you do. I don't know what you do with him offensively, but you need a dude, and I would start him, and I'd figure out how to.
Well, you need a bruiser on the court. You need a bruiser.
You need a scorer. They don't have a third scorer. Like here's the thing with Klay Thompson, and I know I don't want to mess with the brother's money. Klay Thompson didn't make the All NBA team. Okay, as a guard. Here's the thing with Klay Thompson though. I watched Klay Thompson torch the Bulls for almost 50. If he didn't get 50, like that seems to be his favorite place to play.
Yeah.
But Klay Thompson's a third option. Now, I don't know how he would be anywhere else, and what you do for him to be a number one dude. But Klay Thompson's your third guy. Steph's a number one, a number two when KD's there, and he's comfortable doing that. Okay, so all these guys can be number one guys in certain situations, or put up main guy numbers in certain situations.
Right.
KD's not there. So it's the finals. He's coming off an injury. I don't know if Boogie's all the way healthy, but if Boogie's like at 75 or 80%, you gotta, I don't know about forcing him the ball, but you gotta figure out, you need offense, because a lot of them dudes off the bench, because DeMarcus Cousins only had 3 points. That's not. You gotta figure something else out. You gotta figure something out, or you gotta figure out you gotta have another big man out there, Jordan Bell or somebody, to where somebody has to get 20 points. You know what I'm saying? Because Toronto has dudes that can, Kyle Lowry. You can do what you can say what you want about him, but he's been having an inspired playoffs in some games, and you have guys. Kawhi Leonard, I can totally see him going for 30 I can totally see him going for 30 next game, because they play Sunday. You need help. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if they're not going to better, not defend, but if they're not going to better split those traps, Steph's going to have, and he had 34 points in it, but he didn't look comfortable. He was bothered. You know what I'm saying? So you need a third person. Because Draymond Green, I'm not expecting Draymond Green to go for 30. I'm expecting Draymond Green to go for 18, 9 rebounds, or 18, 12 rebounds and 7 assists, or 10 assists. I'm not expecting him to go for 30. Everybody was post game Thursday. Oh, Draymond Green needs to play better. Yeah, that would be nice, but remember now, Draymond Green had a triple-double. I'm not expecting him to be a dominant player to offensively and score a bunch of points. I'm expecting him to do LeBron James type stuff, without the scoring. But you need a third dude. So if I'm going to incorporate Boogie Cousins, he's starting, and I'm going to see what he has early.
Right. Of course.
Like you said. It's not going to be Well, Boogie, it's the end of the second quarter. Like, let's see what you got. Nah, I need you to start now. Because KD is not gonna. You in half court sets, you know you need that dude, and defensively you need that dude because KD would have guarded, Pascal because he's the hot man. So you don't have anybody like that dude's a power forward with guard skills. You don't have anybody on Golden State that can guard that except Draymond Green, and he gave trouble to Draymond Green because Pascal's a bigger dude, and Draymond Green has had trouble with bigger guys. So I'm sure Draymond Green will adjust to that because he has before, and he's a great player, and great players figure out how to adjust things, but. It helps to have a bigger body, it helps to have bigger bodies there because people forget, like, Golden State's a long team. Golden State's a long team. The Raptors are a long team. You know what I'm saying? And they're able to defend Golden State's long players. KD's 7 feet, 2 guard. Steph, seems small compared to them, but Steph's 6'3", and he's a big.
Yeah, he's.
Car just drove past.
Huh? What did you say?
Car just drove past, or something happened.
Yeah, that was actually a plane. It was the Addison Airport.
Good job.
Yeah, right.
Forgot you're close to that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but I think this next game, I'm looking for something positive. I'll call it, and I'll call it and say that the Warriors will win this one, at least by 15.
By 15, you think they'll
about 15.
They'll have a normal Warrior game?
Yeah,
I think it'll be close because Kawhi Leonard hasn't really had a Kawhi Leonard game. What happened?
Right, no problem. Oh, I had to help this young lady out. She's having some issues. No, but it's funny. I heard everyone speak about this first game, and they were, the Raptors are gonna be the team to knock out the Warriors because look, the Warriors couldn't come and they couldn't play and they couldn't do this. Steph Curry, it's not he's not the player that he used to be. And I was hearing all this
and
stuff.
And he still had 34. Like this was a bad game for Steph, and he had 34.
And he had 30. Yeah, I'm like, come on, man, really? Come on, guys. You guys know good and well Golden State
isolation ball. They don't have a dude that can just take over the game in half court. We said that years ago. We said that like when it looks like when in half court sets and you have to pound the ball. They don't have anybody to do that. Steph tries to do that and he gets bumped around. KD, the dynamic is different. Like anybody that said like anybody that said they're better without him is not paying attention, and they can still shoot. Like Golden State can still outshoot anybody. That's what Houston learned. That's what Houston learned. That's what Portland learned. Like, and this was a game where defensively they stopped. They disrupted Golden State's ball movement offense, and nobody was getting. And again, let me state again. Steph had 34. But what I noticed is they made sure he had to go he had to go other ways. Like if you look at his let's look at his stat line. My man only had 4 3-pointers. He was 4 of 9. See what I'm saying? Bro, like that's not a normal Steph game. There wasn't a lot of 3-pointers that game. Like they had to go. Everybody had to go in the paint to score. Like that's not their game. So Toronto did a very good job of making sure that can't nobody get off on these threes, and Golden State just needs to figure out how to like stop that defense because, and they need a third guy. Like, and everybody forgets you still got to go to the Oracle for 3 games.
Right? Oh, of course.
Like
they forget that.
Like really, Toronto. Like if Toronto loses game 2, then it's right back in Golden State's court now. So it's fine. I still say that I think everybody just assumed that after the Portland series that we didn't really watch the Raptors until the playoffs, and everybody just assumed like after the Portland series like that either Golden State was gonna have a crazy game or everybody was like you need KD to beat them, and it would help because you saw the glaring problem that a KD-less Warriors team is. You don't have that third dude, and in certain situations where Steph can't get off, because what I think too is if KD was there, Steph doesn't have 34. Steph has maybe 12 or 18 points, and KD has like Klay still has his 21. Steph may have 18, and KD would have 30 something.
Of course, yeah.
Because them traps would be like because everybody would focus on Steph and do the traps, and then KD would get either these open shots or KD would get because how are you going to guard even if KD's not 100%, he can still shoot. You know what I'm saying? So a healthy KD gets 30 plus, and in a game with a healthy KD, like I said, like Steph only probably gets 18 because he doesn't have to force anything because I'm going to just get a ball to KD now.
Right.
Trap that. So yeah, it just you see the glaring difference of the two styles of play, and defensively, Toronto played very well, and I think it's going to be. I have Golden State in 6. I would not be surprised if Golden State goes 7 games if Toronto pushes them to 7 games, and this would help KD's legacy because if KD, and I've heard this, if KD comes back in game 3, because they're saying that he might not come back. He might not come back for game 2, because they want to see how he practices, so it's doubtful. But if he comes back in game 3, which I would start him in game 3 because he's home, you know what I'm saying, and you're home anyway. You just it will be better. Like, and they end up winning. They end up winning the finals. That whole legacy thing ends there because people will be like, oh, they actually did need him to win in the finals because it's the finals. And Toronto defensively handled them.
Well, what would you rather see them do it without him?
I don't care. I just want to see them win.
Yeah, I know.
Like here's a couple narratives that like I need to stop. I need people to not say. Number one, Kawhi Leonard is not Michael Jordan. Okay? We need to Kawhi Leonard and Pascal are not the next Jordan and Pippen. Okay? This is a situation where the Raptors traded for a guy and it worked out. And Kawhi might not leave, but Kawhi might go to Los Angeles because he wants to play there, and I believe he's from there. Okay, this is a wonderful season for Toronto, but can we stop with the Jordan and Pippen comparisons with that? That's number one. Number two, the whole Golden State thing, the whole Golden State, you need KD to beat them. You need KD, like, they're a better team. Look, Golden State has probably one of the best shooters out, two of the best shooters on their team organically. Like, and they locked Steph up already. They're probably gonna lock Clay up already. Like, it doesn't matter how they win. Like, win. Like, I need Golden State to win. Like, because people want to, like, not put them this. People want to not put them in in one of the greatest teams to ever do it. Like, you know, this stretch of games. So I don't care if KD's there. I don't care if KD's not there. To me, I don't hold of how KD get. It's just like with the LeBron Miami thing. I've never thought LeBron was less of a basketball player, and his legacy was less than because he went to Miami. Like, I never thought that. It's a job. It's a job. That Cleveland had bad management. He basically went with his homie and another friend, and they worked together, and they put in, and they did great things for 4 years. Conversely, I'm not about to sit here and do a referendum on KD's legacy, because again, he had a bad coworker that he couldn't really click with, and he went to a better company. Okay? No, whatever happens, Golden State Warriors, however they win, if Golden State wins, they're still one of the greatest teams to ever do it. I need them to win this fourth to solidify their dynasty, because now apparently you can't be a dynasty if you don't win 3 in a row.
Right.
Not three championships, but you got to win 3 in a row. Because I heard that argument, like, well, they're not a dynasty because they haven't won 3 in a row, but they won 3 out of 4 though. Well, that doesn't count. I'm like, what you mean that doesn't count? That doesn't count. That just means they're good. I'm like, so the Spurs then, when the Spurs had 5 championships, the Spurs weren't a dynasty then. No, they were just really good. I'm like, okay. So apparently you need to win 3 in a row to be considered a dynasty. So I need that to happen. So then people will stop with that ridiculousness.
Yeah.
So I don't care how they win. I just need Golden State to win.
That's all I need.
I need them to win. I would be happy. I would be okay if Toronto won. I'm not like a Golden State homer. But I want Golden State to win because I want to see history. You know, that 4 out of 5 would be dope. That's never been that's because we've never seen it. Well, we've never seen that. We've seen we've seen somebody win 5 in the modern NBA. We've seen a couple teams win 5. We've never seen 4 out of 5. In 5 straight finals, you win 4 of them. We've never seen that.
Yeah, which I think that'll change NBA history forever.
I want Steph to have crazy numbers. I want KD to be effective when he's out there and be a difference maker. But I want Steph to get a Finals MVP so people can solidify his legacy. Because, dude, you know what? When you win 4 championships, I don't necessarily know what to classify Steph is, because their system is so ball movement intensive. And Steph is almost like a 2 guard.
Right.
So I don't really know what to call him. But if you win 4, then I gotta put him kind of, I don't know, because Dwayne Wade has 3 championships, and everybody regards him as like it's him. It's Jordan, Kobe, and him. He's like top 3 as far as 2 guards. I would also put Dwayne Wade as like a combo guard situation because he plays both positions. He just guards point guards. So Steph, if you win 4, then you would have to be like, okay, where's Steph now? Because people have been asking this question this season about where do you put Steph in the great players. I think he's up there, but I think he needs to win 1 more for everybody else to see it. Because right now, and I don't think people understand how great he is or where his place is among all-time greats. So I don't care about how they win. I just need them to win, and I need KD to play and kind of be effective because people are being really, really stupid about legacies and this is going to be like these rings don't matter. Like real talk, bro. I don't want Kevin Durant to go to New York. And I'll probably mention this later, and this is kind of too early to talk about this, but I don't want Kevin Durant to go to New York. I want him to stay in Golden State. But see, he's gonna have to go.
I do too. I agree. But he needs to stay in Golden State.
Yeah, I just think that would be dope. But see, everybody's talking and everybody's like, well, those rings don't matter.
But that's what he wants, though. He likes that kind of attention. So it's kind of like LeBron, kind of a little bit, but not so much. But for him, he likes that talking stuff, so he can have what do you call it? What do they call it? Ghost
inspiration.
Ghost account.
Oh, the burner accounts, so he can talk.
Yeah, so he can tease people, and he likes that kind of stuff, man. So yeah. I mean, and at the end of the day, though, I think his decision. I think he's already made the decision. I mean, I think his mind is made up on where he wants to go.
What I don't want him to do is I don't want him to feel like because see, and I don't know if he'll ever hear this, but like Golden State's a good situation, right? You left there because you and Russ couldn't coexist, not get along. I mean, they got along. I listened to a podcast with him where it was like Darius Miles and Quentin Richardson. Remember those two from the Clipper days? They have a podcast now. So, and it's actually pretty dope. It's called I think it's called the Knuckleheads from the Players Tribune.
Yeah.
They got a real dope podcast, man. Listen to them. But yeah, he was on there and he was saying like everybody just assumes that me and Russ don't get along. That's not it. You know what I'm saying? So that wasn't it. But he goes, I always like I'm glad that Russ gets off and does what he does. He said we don't really have a problem. So
true.
but I know why he left because he said like I just liked how Golden State plays, and them guys have been knowing each other since 2010, and it's just like okay, it's a job situation. He went to a better situation. I don't want KD to go to a bad situation because he feels like it's Steph's team or the media saying his rings aren't. He got to validate his rings.
But you know what though? That's where mind games can be played, and he can't allow his mind to manipulate him like that.
But you see what I'm saying?
Hey. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Those are mind games, man. Because at the end of the day, it's a team game, And yeah, Steph Curry, he is the most popular one on that team,
and he's the engine.
He's the engine. Yes, he is. But at the same time, I mean, Kevin Durant has to realize too that he's bringing a lot to the table as well. Like
right.
I mean, the game is completely different when he's on the floor. Like he makes that big of an impact.
Right.
So he has to realize that he is an intricate part of that team winning.
Right.
I mean, he is. Granted, they can win with Steph Curry. They can win, they can win games without Durant. But at the same time, though, the way Durant plays
mm-hmm.
can end games quickly and significantly.
To where it's not even to where it's like it's not fair.
Yeah, where it's not even fair, man. And that's the difference between Kevin Durant on the floor and him not on the floor.
Right.
Golden State wins games. Yeah, they win games, but they win team games. Team games. With Curry, yeah, he can take over a game and win it for him, but at the same time, though, with KD on the floor, it's like the game is just, he makes it to where it's like, dang, when everybody gets hot, it's a problem, man.
Right. And like, do we care about, like, do we have these conversations about the Showtime Lakers? Because bro, that was an all-star team. Do we have these conversations about the Showtime Lakers? No, we don't. No one cares. The Bulls, no one discounts Scott. Well, let me reformulate this, what I'm about to say here.
Okay.
Scottie Pippen's still a Hall of Famer. Scottie Pippen's still one of the best players to ever do it. Scottie Pippen's still one of the who's one of the premier defenders ever. Scottie Pippen is basically the people that did the whole quote unquote point forward thing. Scottie Pippen is the reason of the power forward thing. Are you walking around?
Yeah, I'm probably gotta go in here real quick.
Okay.
I got you. Go ahead.
So I'm just trying to calm down the crunchy sound.
Okay.
So like Scottie Pippen we still think of him as like an elite basketball player. We're still gonna think of Durant if he stays at Golden State till he retires, which I don't know if he can do because of money.
Yeah.
But because I don't know if they'll keep him. But it's like if they can afford to pay him. But it's like, you know what? Stay there. Because you going to New York. You going to New York and you playing. I mean, you might get to the finals. You might get to the finals or whatever, or whatever. You might get to the now. If for some reason, this is just a pipe dream, and I know Chicago isn't going to do this. Now he goes, I want to play for the Bulls. Make it happen, agent. And he tells his agent, I want to play for the Bulls, and I want to go to Chicago, and I want to build my own statue. And I'm like, all right, Kev, welcome to.
You think that's what he wants? You think that's what he wants?
What?
He wants to build his own statue. You think he wants that?
That's what I don't know what he wants. Like everybody says, he's a different dude, so we just gotta wait. But see, everybody else is like, well, Kevin Durant, those rings are cheap because of how we went.
Right.
So, and when you look at the actual finals that he played in, those rings ain't cheap at all. They're not. So, to me, like, if you go and you get another ring, if you go and you get 3 rings and 3 finals MVPs, or you go and you get your 3rd ring and you don't necessarily get the MVP because let's say Steph still goes for 30 or whatever, or still has dominant games like he kind of did this one. It doesn't, like, even though he doesn't get the finals MVP, You know he was an integral part of those championship teams. You know those rings don't mean. You know those rings mean something. Like the idea that those rings don't mean anything because of how he went there. That's ridiculous, and people just want to hate him because we have this dumb thing about players can't have autonomy on their careers unless they go to a bad squad. So now everybody's like, well, he has to go to a bad team and be the number one guy. And then you hear stories about, well, he doesn't feel what's this thing? He doesn't feel that he's that Golden State loves him like they love Stephen Clay. And it's like, does it matter? Go get rings, man.
Exactly.
That's just like the Kobe and Shaq thing. It doesn't matter if Shaq is out of shape and Shaq, y'all still winning. Y'all still dominating people. They were dominating people. It wasn't even fair. And Kobe's mad because Shaq doesn't really take his career seriously. You Kobe, you trying to be Jordan. What difference does it make? Play sports. And that's what I want KD to do. Do what you do. Do what you want to do. But don't have rabbit ears. If you want to stay in Golden State, especially now, what helps Golden State is that he's coming off of an injury. So if you want to stay in Golden State for another year, another 2 years or whatever, and do basically what LeBron did with Cleveland and Miami, really, then live your life. Do your thing. I'm not going to devalue what you did on the basketball court because I grew up in the 90s where players just stayed and got their asses handed to them for years.
Right.
And then you know what? That's noble, but sometimes being noble doesn't get you rings.
Exactly.
Like, you can be noble. Like, yeah, like I respect what Dame is doing in Portland, but guess what? You ain't gonna win no championship there. You're not going to win a championship in Portland. It's not gonna happen.
No.
You basically showed the entire world that you and CJ McCollum can't beat Golden State without KD. Because CJ McCollum made a deal about Boogie and what is it? And KD being there on a podcast, and they was like, it's not fair and all this other stuff. And then when you and Dame had the situation to dominate, to beat the Warriors because KD and Boogie were out, like Steph made you look really, really stupid.
Yeah, because you couldn't even beat them like that.
So what Dame and CJ are doing are admirable. That's awesome. But you ain't gonna win no championship as long as the Splash Brothers are at Golden State. You've proven this. As a matter of fact, you might not win a championship because Houston is about to do some things. You might not win a championship because Houston's going to be different. So I don't want KD to be like, I got to go to a lesser team and try to rebuild the team because he has to validate his legacy. His legacy's already validated. I just want Golden State to win this championship, and because I feel like this will shut people up. This will shut people up about whether or not Steph's great. This will shut people up depending on what happens with KD. This will shut people up about KD's legacy because it's obvious that the team is different, and in some cases the team may be, better with KD in the finals, which is what I've been saying since he's been there. And this will shut people up too because Kawhi Leonard's awesome, but Kawhi Leonard ain't Jordan.
Right.
And that needs to stop. Like, and what's going to happen is if Kawhi Leonard wins and then leaves, then that's a one-off. So what are you gonna do? Like, I appreciate the gamble. It's awesome, but I need I don't want that to be validated.
I know.
See what I'm saying? I don't want, because I have problems with Toronto trading DeRozan. I just do, because he wanted to be there and you traded him anyway. I respect the gamble, but I don't like that as an organization. You don't do that. So I don't need that to be validated. And if Toronto wins, it would be fun, because I want to see Drake act a complete and total donkey, because he's been on one. No pun intended there. But yeah, man, like I need Golden State to win this series and stop playing. Like I need them to figure it out, because I need certain things to stop.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, man.
I agree.
That's my thoughts on this.
That's my thoughts on it too, man. That's all I got.
So, but anyway, people, that was the Pushing While Black show, Rant, Sport, and Fitness collab. That'll be up later today. And you got anything going on like later, or got anything going on like with the Rant, Sport, and Fitness, or no?
Not at this time, guys. I'm kind of trying to see what my Cowboys are doing for the season. I got to get this Ezekiel Elliott stuff situated, so find out more information about that. Hopefully, it won't be gone too long after after they deal with this. So we'll see.
I scanned a quick article real quick about them boys. Apparently, the Dak, Kellen Moore, and Garrett are having like this wonderful thing offensively, to where there's this three-headed monster of knowledge, and Kellen and Dak are really bonding. So I don't know what that means, but Dallas Cowboy fans and media seem to be excited about this.
It's all like all the other years. Okay. And I'm a Cowboy fan, guys. I am. I love them. I bleed blue and silver. I love them. But that's cute. That's all I can say. That's cute. They got a bonding moment. I want to see how like bonding turns out on the field. Heck, having all these powwows ain't gonna win games.
Because there was a lot of Dak. What do you do? There was a lot of Dak, bro. What are you doing, man? There was a lot of those moments last season. So yeah, bro, I get you. But anyway, thanks for listening to us, people, and I'm out. We will do this again after. Oh, real quick, Mignon, what you got for final prediction for Game 2? Golden State wins Game 2?
Golden State wins Game 2. At least by 10 to 15 points.
I don't think it'll be that much of a distance, but Golden State wins by 6. You got how many games you got Golden State winning the series by? Are they gonna go 6 or 7?
At this point, I see it going 7.
I see it going. I'm still gonna stick with 6, but I'm not gonna be surprised if it goes to 7 games, like I said earlier. But
right.
Yeah. But anyway, we will see you guys Sunday.
That's right.
All right. Christian out.
Mignon out.